Hello and welcome back to my channel, Hightunnel Field Tomato Production. Today is June the 26th. I've not done a video in a while. We've been really busy on our farm. I raise blueberries and we were right in the middle of harvesting, so I've been really busy, but just want to give you a tomato update. These tomatoes that you're looking at right now were planted on May the 5th. And that's been 53 days ago. I have to look at my notes. Yes, 53 days ago. Now these are 72-day tomato. And that means when you buy those seeds, it says 72 days, that is from transplanting. Now then, I've told you before that I raise these in a 4-inch pot, which I believe gives you about a week advantage. So if 72 days would be July the 17th, I really believe that I'm going to have these ready somewhere around the 10th or 11th or 12th. A lot of that depends on the weather and just nutritionals. But I want you to just look at the height of these things. You know, pretty good. That's 4.5 foot, somewhere right in there. Now, I'm going to take a walk outside and show you through the side curtains. A lot of the tomatoes are on there. They're loading up good. Still got flower buds on them. They're still flying, so we're still setting fruit. Got a lot of tomatoes that are that size, some of them that size, some of them maybe that size, you know, some pretty big ones. I've already got some half-pound and bigger tomatoes, but one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, I had a little issue here over the last week or two, and I've seen some colors on the leaves. Now, if you'd go to a website called YARA, they make fertilizers for various crops, but they make a lot of blended fertilizers for tomatoes. And even though I don't buy theirs, they have some wonderful pictures on there for diagnosis. But now here's the problem. I can tell magnesium deficiency pretty easy. There's a chlorosis and blotting of the leaves. And I've had that, and so I've added some magnesium, and they're looking better. I still think I'm a little bit low, but when you're adding nutrients and micronutrients, ingredients to your tomatoes, do it slowly. If you just give them a big chunk of nutrients, you may have given them the wrong one to start with, and then you may just offset them and cause more problems. So I feed them that stuff a little more at a time. So in this tunnel right here, now here's the rule of thumb that I read, and I think it may be correct. For every foot of tomato plants you got, you're going to need about a tablespoon of magnesium every 2 weeks. And so for this high tunnel here, that's about 6 pounds. I've got 160 plants or so in here. So I gave them 6 pounds. I came back 2 weeks later and gave them another 6 pounds. That seems to have corrected it pretty good, but they actually need a little bit more. So I'm going to give them a little bit more here in just a week or so. But I was having some yellowing of the leaves. They just didn't look right. I didn't know what it was. And so I called my county agent, and we took some leaf samples, and we'll send them up to the lab, which is at the University of Arkansas, and they can analyze those leaves. Now, we took what I'd call the bad leaves, the ones that had miscoloring and some problems, and they had some necrotic issues. Not bad, but just some. And so before it gets too bad, I wanted to get the leaves tested. They have not sent them back. Now, we just sent those leaves off about 3 days ago, maybe 4, and it says this being Sunday, I won't get any results till Monday or Tuesday, but they will tell me what is missing in those leaves. Now, I don't know about our labs. They may not exactly tell me how to correct it, but knowing what it is would help. But here's the thing. I measured my pH, soil pH, with a kind of inexpensive pH meter, and I thought I was a little bit high. 6.8 would be the perfect pH. I thought I was around 7.2. I thought, well, I may be just a little high, and I can't uptake the nutrients. So I came in with some sprayable ammonia sulfate, and I knew the sulfur is used to lower the pH. So for each tunnel I've got, I only used 1.5 pounds of ammonia sulfate. Once again, I wanted to lower that pH slowly. And lo and behold, a few days later, my yellowing leaves pretty much disappeared. So what it was, I was actually low on sulfur. And a lot of issues with tomatoes, the leaves will show very similar symptoms. And I'm not good at this to know the difference in those symptoms. I thought, well, it might be the fact that I may be a little low in phosphorus because I'm not giving them phosphorus, but my soil has plenty. So I didn't give them a lot. I used a 10-20-10 and gave maybe a pound or so for each tunnel, because I did see some purpling on the leaves, which it could be an indicator of low phosphorus. Now, here's the thing. If you've got a plant or a soil, not the plant, but if you've got a soil that's high in one nutrient, that may bind up another one. And that science is way beyond my knowledge. I can't even explain it to you. I don't know. But especially with phosphorus, when you're really high in phosphorus, it may bind up some other nutrients. So I'm really not sure what's going on. But all I can tell you, by adding the ammonia sulfate, everything is really looking a lot better. What I've got going on right now with the magnesium, I can handle. I'm not upset at all. So in general, the plants look great. And so, but there are some private labs now. Bradley County down in Arkansas, they've got a lot of tomatoes growers. They use a lab out of Memphis, Tennessee, and they will test, if you've got 10 acres, they're going to test their leaves, probably a section of each of the field, maybe one out of every acre. They're going to be testing those leaves weekly, and they send them off, and that lab over there will come back and tell you what to do to correct it. So they're dealing on an acre basis. That's a little bit easier to figure out. Maybe they're low in calcium, maybe they're low in some other iron or something, and so that lab will come back and tell them what to do. Not sure what my lab is going to do, but just knowing what's low will allow me to make some adjustments on my own. So hope that kind of helps you out if you're raising more than just a few tomatoes. Really watch your leaves, learn how to read the leaves. I'm not good at it yet, but I'm getting a little bit better. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to take it, I'm going to go outside, and then I'm just going to give you an overview of our plants. But I really think within 3 weeks I'm going to be picking ripe tomatoes. Yes, I've had 1 or 2 out of each tunnel that have a little blossom end rot. That is probably from my little bit of irregular watering, but right now I'm watering every day. There's really no telling how much water a tomato uses per day when you're talking 90-degree temperatures and putting on a load of fruit and the transpiration of the leaves and everything. But what I do, my favorite way is the finger method. As I irrigate, when I get done, I'll take my finger and poke the soil around it. And if my finger goes down all the way, the soil is moist, I'm good. There's not a single problem. If you come back in the morning and you try to poke your finger down in that same area and it's not going down in there, your plants are sucking up the water. It's time to water again. So somebody else might be able to help you with understanding a little bit more about how to water, but nothing is like visual. Now, where I've got raised beds and plastic down, white plastic, it's not quite as easy, but the water will wick out from under that plastic, and that gives me a visual effect too. So, all right, I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to turn the camera off, walk around a few minutes, and then I'm going to produce this thing. Appreciate you watching, and see you next time. Okay, here we are. This is part 2 of my June 27th video, and I'm standing outside of the Hightunnel, and I'm going to just kind of walk you down a ways and let you see tomatoes. But let me just zoom in a little bit right here. Excuse me. Here we go. See some of the tomatoes. Now, you're not going to see all of them, but you can see some of them. And let me just kind of back it off just a little bit. Walk down here. Now, I'm going to show you a good spot. There we go. You can see a lot of tomatoes right there. I mean, these things are loading up. I'm going to say that bottom tomato there, I mean, it's as big as a baseball or bigger. That's actually a little bit bigger. A lot of these are tennis ball sizes. And if you'll look, see right here on this cluster, There's some little bitty small one. That there is not a first one. There is not even quite the size of a golf ball. You can see a big one behind it, but let me just kind of walk down. There's some. Yeah. Sorry about the strings and the pipes. You're going to just have to put up with that. Good amount of tomatoes right there. Let me walk down and show you another little wad. Now, unfortunately, these plants right here, they don't seem to be as tall and bushy as I would like, but at least they give you a good view of the tomatoes. And I don't know exactly how many tomatoes right there. That's coming off really of 2 plants. And I just really can't tell you. There is a lot of tomatoes right there. Right here is some pretty ones, and tomatoes will start turning color. They start to get a little pink to them. That's called breakers. That's when they're just breaking color. Now, if you go to a grocery store, the tomatoes they're buying were just, I mean, some of them even have some red stripes on them, but they were shipped in the breaker stage. Then they go to a distributor, and then the grocery store buys them, and they put those boxes out back, and they let them slowly ripen up. And that's why they don't have any flavor. They are not vine ripe. And so I'm kind of a vine ripe guy. I don't ship any of these. Let me go down here. It's a nice cluster. A couple of really nice tomatoes right there. Don't know if you can see that one on the left there. You're probably not going to be able to see it as good as I can. That one on the left there is big. He's already 9 ounces probably. And it's like this all through the tunnel. This is just the outside of one row. So like I said, I just wanted to give you a little, there's one, I'll zoom in on this one. There's one with some kind of cat face thing. That is incomplete pollination. It might have been a little bit cold, no breeze. Let me tell you one thing that I believe it works. Sometimes in this tunnel, if you don't get as much airflow, so I walk around when I'm in the tunnel, and I will hit the stakes. You see the stakes here. And as I'm walking down each row, I'm bumping them. I'm vibrating those plants. But an old timer told me what he likes to do is he'll take a gas-powered leaf blower, and he will walk between those rows with that leaf blower and rustle the plants. Just shoot that air on them, and that vibrates them naturally. He says he likes to do that between about 12 and 1 o'clock, or maybe 2, and that kind of pollinates. And I believe there's something to it. I've done it before, but right now my leaf blower is not working, so I'll just walk through here a couple of times a day because I'm down here checking irrigation. I'll go down on the end rows where I've got a metal stake, and I'll bump that thing and just really try to vibrate the plants. So like I say, I'm not gonna, you can look down there and see quite a few. I'm not going to spend any more time today, but I appreciate you watching my videos. If you would, subscribe to them and leave some comments, and it'd be a help to me. So y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.